be live on Mod Crush with Touch Arcade Show episode number 219, I think. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah.
You
okay.
dog.
Yeah, so if you're watching this on Mob Crush or YouTube or I guess anywhere else that the video has been ripped and re-uploaded, this week's episode...
That happened?
It has happened before.
If you're torrenting this, what's up, dudes?
No, I mean, like, not podcast videos specifically, but, like, you know, that's why we started watermarking our gameplay videos originally.
Still waiting for it to go live.
It takes, like, 30 seconds.
That's too many seconds.
Well, a bunch of people are joining up the stream, so this week's episode sponsor is Tiny Tracks, the same sponsor as last week. It's available on the App Store for $2.99. Pretty cool little train game. Definitely check it out. With that, I think we are ready to roll, maybe?
Oh, I'm ready.
Question mark? Let's see if I have any other last second housekeeping to do before we get started here. Looks like I got emails queued up, got the sponsor script queued up. I guess I'll start recording. Oh, I got a tweet from someone. Let me consult that real quick. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Got my pretzel in hand.
Jesus Christ. Hey guys, what's up? You are listening to the Touch Arcade Show. This is episode number 219 for anyone that's still keeping track for some insane reason. Normal podcast streamed on Mob Crush live. You're watching it live on Mob Crush right now. Thanks for joining us. If you're watching it on YouTube after the fact, I hope you enjoy the show. And if you're listening to it via iTunes or Stitcher, welcome. Welcome to the weekly podcast.
Promise not to do anything too visual.
Yeah, never do anything too visual anyway.
I promise this much. Damn it. Right off the bat.
So yeah, I'm a little bit under the weather personally. So if I'm randomly muting myself, it's because I'm coughing like a maniac and everything else. So hopefully Mike and Jared pick up the slack. But
I'm busy muting. I'm muting my pretzel crunches.
I know that's the problem. This might be like the dead air episode. Is I'm muting myself coughing. You're muting yourself eating crunchy snack food.
I'll just keep the snack sounds. No, I won't.
Jared randomly disconnecting. Texting me WTF.
Like, I can't hear you guys. Can you hear me?
So yeah, we got a one iTunes review this week from Saren Jin, I guess, CRENJYN. It's from the US App Store, and this was just a couple days ago. So he says, I've been listening to this podcast since the Brad days. I've never had an iPhone because a simple flip phone has always suited my low-tech lifestyle. It's kind of interesting. I do have an iPad, however, and enjoy spending time with Eli, Jared, and Mike, keeping current on the products and applications that seem to captivate most of the civilized world. Perhaps because I am less tech-oriented, I enjoy equally all the tangential and completely off-the-rails discussions that can result when three interesting people get together and chat. To be honest, I listen mostly to simply hang with some friends. Whatever the topic, I know I will enjoy the time spent with these guys. It's an hour or so each week that I genuinely look forward to. Oh, that's nice.
Thank you.
That was
I've
good.
never
That
been
was a
called
good
an
one.
interesting person.
Yeah, I was wondering who he was talking to.
I can print this out for you and put it in a certificate frame.
Yeah.
Interesting person, Jared.
Official, interesting person.
It's kind of fascinating that I know a few people that still have flip phones. Because it's like, for a lot of people still haven't been able to make the mental, admittedly totally understandable, like the mental jump to going from, like the $30 cell phone plan to like I think mine is like, I just it's kind of side graded my AT&T plan to the 15 gig one, and it's like $155 a month.
That's insane.
But I mean, that's kind of like if you use a smartphone, you end up using it a lot, and you end up using a lot of data, and pretty soon you're spending over $100 on a phone.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Easy to do.
How you got 10 gigs, don't you, Jared? Or you have 5? You have
No,
Verizon.
I downgraded my plan a couple months ago to like 2 gigs or something, 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't ever use it unless I'm traveling because I'm
Oh.
always at home. So
I
whatever.
tether all the time, and I don't know. I feel like my overall sanity is better if I'm, working other places.
Yeah,
tethered
I
and
don't
stuff.
go anywhere. So, but it was nice though because my phone bill was like 120 bucks, and now it's like 80, I think, or 70 something.
It's still not that crazy of a saving. So when you think about it, I mean, that's still a pretty expensive phone bill.
Yeah, it's still expensive for a phone bill, but it's whatever 30, 40 bucks cheaper or something like that. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's cool that we have people that have iPads or tablets or whatever and hang out with us still. I love it.
Yeah, I think Arn tweeted something, or maybe it was someone else, but there was like a forum thread on Mac Rumors where someone was like, "I'm sick of having a phone. I'm gonna buy this iPod Touch or an iPad with Wi-Fi, and how can I make it work as sort of like a phone without having a phone plan, basically?" And a bunch of people were chiming in like, "Yeah, I do that. I do that with an iPod Touch, or I do that with an iPad Mini, or whatever. And I use Skype, or I use Google Voice, or like there's these various ways that people have gotten around having to have like an actual phone, but they can still like communicate with people using Wi-Fi or whatever other services and apps there are out there, and like a pretty sounds like it's kind of tricky at certain times to do totally what you want to do.
Yeah.
So it's not like a complete replacement for having just a phone plan, but at the same time, they're like, yeah, I'm paying 20 bucks a month for this or that or whatever. It's kind of cool. So I don't know. Maybe someday we'll move to that point where there isn't even like, you know, the two things are interchangeable.
I
It's
mean,
not like a
honestly,
cell service and an internet thing. It's just all one thing.
most people that I know like don't really even use their phone to talk anymore.
No, same here.
It's like a texting and internet device. So I mean, like
Yeah.
I think it'd be rough to be surfing from Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi kind of thing. But
Yeah.
like at my I've had LTE iPads, and like I've often thought like, man, if this was a little bit smaller, I wouldn't need my phone
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
Yeah, I didn't, when I went to England, I didn't put on an international service or anything like that. I was just like, I'm going to turn cellular off and just hope for Wi Fi. And it worked out okay, but there's definitely some times where it was not great that I couldn't get a hold of anyone or people couldn't get a hold of me or whatever because I wasn't
yeah,
near Wi Fi. But for the most part, like if I needed to know something or look something up or contact someone, I could find like a Wi Fi place.
yeah. Well, when you're in a
Pretty much
metropolitan
anywhere.
area, it's usually
Yeah.
pretty easy to find Wi-Fi. So I don't know. Well, thanks for the review, and if you like this podcast enough that you feel like reviewing it, you can do so on iTunes. We got a fancy little service set up, so I'll catch any review on any region. So don't worry about necessarily switching over to the U.S. App Store. In fact, it's probably better if you review it in other regions because I think that does something. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you're bored and you want to go through every region's app store and rate us on every single one individually, that's fine too.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. So a couple emails this week. Um, first one is from Luis. He says, I'm a fan of RPG games and stuff in that area. The current developers for Torchlight Mobile showed the game off at Gamescom. I think they also showed it at like GDC and some other stuff too, didn't they, before it was released? But either way.
Yeah.
And they paid attention to the feedback and removed the stamina system. What do you guys think about this move?
Did that happen for real?
I guess I kind of
I
stopped.
haven't heard anything about
I
that,
kinda
but we weren't
stopped
at
following
Gamescom.
it.
Yeah, maybe that's true. I mean, there was definitely some backlash to it. I played that game at GDC or E3, and it was really fun. It was like, I don't know. I can't really see how the free to play system is going to be that big of a deal. It's pretty typical. You know what I mean? I think it just people get mad that it's there. Um,
Oh, it was
and
at E3.
won't even bother trying it.
E3 when we saw it.
Yeah, that's when we saw it. So Gamescom was after that. So it's possible they changed things up. Maybe they took the stamina out. That would make me wonder if they took out all the stuff. Because, I mean, everything was built around the different currencies and the upgrade system and stuff like that. It wasn't just stamina meter.
Yeah.
Although I can see them pulling that stamina meter out and have it not really affecting anything too drastically. Like, I don't even really know. A lot of times I don't even really know why stamina meters are in there. Because they don't really do anything,
Yeah, I feel like it was that seemed like kind of a typical reaction to the current state of the App Store, where it's like, well, we have this great game that we've been working on porting. It's 2015. It has to be free to play. So how do we do that?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, stamina system.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to reach out to them and see if there's any news on that sort of stuff. But I think, one of the biggest problems is, yeah, your best chance is probably like a free-to-play game, but putting that on a known IP, I think, is always dangerous. So there's a pretty decent fan base on desktop for Torchlight and Torchlight 2 and stuff like that. People love those games. Those are like the new era Diablo games or whatever. And so when you turn something that is kind of beloved like that into a free-to-play game, there's going to be a really bad reaction to it, as opposed to if you just made some random game that could be exactly like Torchlight, but free-to-play. If it just doesn't have the name associated with it, it would probably not be a big deal at all.
Yeah, we saw that exact scenario with Dungeon Keeper, and then not to quite such a great extent with Evil Genius that came out a little afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. We'll see, but yeah, Torchlight on mobile will still probably be awesome.
You're gonna have to look that up after the fact. So we got another email from Kyle. Kyle says, Eli, Jared, and Mike, I've been listening to your podcast since late 2011, and I love it. I don't have as much time as I once did for PC gaming, so iOS gaming has really become my go-to. I was curious about some of your backstories. What was your first system? When did you know you wanted to do something related to video games? What's your all-time favorite game? And you don't have to answer these, by the way. And he said, also, when did you guys first meet? Was it love at first sight? Okay, thanks for the podcast and the great site. I'll hang up and listen. And he also says, P.S. Eli, thanks for the Chicago Pizzeria recommendations. He had Lou Malnati's when he was super drunk one night, and it did not disappoint. I think Lou Malnati's
pizza really good when you're super drunk.
Yeah, I remember this Twitter exchange. Like I was like, if you just want to check out pizza and you don't mind touristy, Lou Malnati's is the way to go. It's like that's the baseline, but there's way better places. You just gotta kind of search them out. So if you like Lou Malnati's, you'll be blown away if you want to put just a tiny bit more effort towards finding good pizza places.
Effort.
Yeah. Like the best place that I found in the city is a place called Bert's that is closed Sunday and Monday, is open like half the day on Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you have to make reservations like 2 weeks out and place your order at time of reservation.
Wow.
But you get what you pay for, or I guess you get what you wait for, or whatever.
You get what you wait for.
So what was your first system, Jared and Mike?
My first system was Atari 2600, which I want to say my aunt, or maybe it was, it was my aunt, gave it to me when I was like, I don't know, 3 or 4, real young. And, she gave me, it was like the 2600 system, and then they used to sell these sort of like base station sort of things that you could keep games in, and the system kind of sat on top. It was almost like a box. So she gave me the whole shebang. It was like this giant box thing that could hold something like 50 games or something like that. And it was full games, full of, it had the paddle wheels and then the joysticks and then the system. She just gave the whole thing to me. And I was like, dude, this is amazing. So yeah, I hooked that up and used to play that all the time. And then a couple years later, I got a Master System, which was before the Nintendo was like real big. And then, like, less than a year later is when Nintendo exploded, and everyone at school was like, Nintendo. And I had the Sega Master System, which was not very popular in the States. And so I had to go out and get an NES after that. Be cool. But, yeah, I guess I could go on. But started at 2600 is where I started.
What about you, Mike?
That's pretty much the same as me.
Yeah.
We had the 2600. And
my aunt gave you a 2600 too?
Yeah. She gave me a 2600 and a 5200.
Did your aunt work at Atari?
No. Maybe are we related, Jared? No, that's
maybe.
I had the 2600 and a bunch of games, like because I have 2 brothers, so there's like 3 boys. Just had a bunch of the systems through the years. Yeah. And then once N64 came out, I said, you know what? No more. I'm keeping it until 2015. Then I'll decide.
Is that your last game system?
Yeah, pretty much. Wow. Actually, I don't know what my last game system is. Probably like a PS2 or maybe PS1.
Nothing past that, huh?
Probably. I don't think so.
Wow.
Wow.
It's like that's pretty much once you get like the old Nokia phones, with the games on them.
You're happy after that.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I have some sort of weird,
I have
crappy little
Snake.
snake game. Maybe
What else do you
there's a
need?
skydiving game on it or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, my first system, I didn't have a 2600, but I had a ColecoVision. And
Ooh,
like
my cousin had one of those.
I was so young at the time that I honestly, and still to this day, like I still don't really understand the difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I recall correctly, and I was so young, this is hard to remember, but I feel like it had a ColecoVision, but then it had some like weird accessory that you could also play Atari games on it, with something that looked kind of like a 32X now.
Maybe this is a question for Blake. He would know.
Yeah,
I had a 32X.
like I don't know, I was born in '83, so I mean I was pretty young when all this stuff was happening.
My cousin always had weird systems that I should look up exactly what these were, but I remember a couple of them, and one of them had like a really weird like keypad controller.
Yeah,
That was almost like a TV remote or something that was connected with a cord, and it was just really strange. And I remember it had a Smurfs game on it that was like my favorite thing ever.
I want to say that my ColecoVision had the controller that had like the little joystick and the two buttons on the side and like the number pad like a phone.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
there was another system in television that was around the same time, I think, or whatever. That we had one of those, but I don't think we got it right away. I think we got it like even later, that like maybe around like the Nintendo time. We just picked up like an old one that someone gave us, and
maybe
it
that
had
was
some funny games. There was a game called Shark that I liked.
Shark.
You're just a little fish that you eat like smaller fish than you, and then you grow, and then you can eat bigger fish, but you can't eat anything bigger than you.
Wow.
So like, they've had games, a few games like that on iOS.
So basically, you played the earliest version of Agar.io.
Yeah, the Agar.io, like that's pretty much it.
So yeah, I don't remember. Maybe it was the adapter could go from ColecoVision to a television, or vice versa, or I don't even know. I don't remember. It was too young. But then I got a NES, and then eventually somewhere in the timeline I had TurboGrafx 16, which sounds a lot like your experience with the Master System, where it was like, oh, this is really cool, but no one at school knows what it is, and everyone has something else, and everything else.
Yeah, I had a TurboGrafx too, and there was like a couple of games that I really liked on it. Like the Bonks were worth owning the system for alone.
Did you ever have Blazing Lasers?
Yeah, Blazing Lasers.
I still haven't found a vertical shooter I like more than that game.
Really? No, yeah, that was a good one. I want to say it was on some other platforms too. And then there was another game. I want to say it was the Pac-In game for the TurboGrafx that was like a robot. You were like a mech sort of thing, and I think you had swords. You fought with swords. It was like an action platformer kind of robot game. I wish I could think of the name.
Splatterhouse was.
Splatterhouse was also a big deal. Because the TurboGrafx one had blood, and I don't think the ones that came out on Genesis or whatever had blood. I don't remember.
I had some weird horizontal shooter that was like, its name started with a P, Psychosis maybe or something. I don't know. It was just okay. But yeah, I remember that. I feel like I had a TurboGrafx before a Super Nintendo, and then Super Nintendo came out, and everyone was like, "Why don't you have one of these?"
Yeah.
And I eventually got one, but
yeah.
But yeah, and then basically everything since then. I haven't bought an Xbox One yet, but it's just
me neither. That'll be my next purchase.
Not really anything that I really want to play on. I almost jumped on that deal that Best Buy had like 2 weeks ago or whatever, where it was like you get a TV and an Xbox One for like $400 or something.
Oh right, yeah.
I was like, damn, that's amazing. Like, but I don't really want to spend $400 right now for a system that I don't really need and a TV that I don't really need.
Yeah.
That's why surfing the deal sites are dangerous, because you're like, wow, that's a great deal.
Yeah.
And you just hope you catch yourself on, wow, I really don't need that before anything else. So when did you know that you wanted to do something related to video games for you guys?
I actually had like dreams of working in the game industry in some capacity in like the mid 90s, and first and foremost it was like I wanted to write for like EGM or something.
Yeah, I was the same, because EGM was local for me too.
Yeah, that was like the magazine, although I read like several different magazines. that was like the one that I looked forward to the most. It was always like the top magazine for games, and I just loved reading, you know, all the articles and all the little features they had, and knowing that I really wanted to do something like that, but just having no idea how to break into that sort of industry.
Yeah.
And I always found the like behind the scenes industry stuff really fascinating too, like game development and stuff like that. Even like weird things like marketing and planning things out and stuff that's not even related to actually playing games. I always thought was really interesting. So that was where I got like an interest or like a desire to want to do something like that, but just sort of like didn't know where to start and never really pursued it
Yeah.
until I sort of like slipped and fell into my job with Touch Arcade. So
Yeah,
it's like,
I don't know if it was just like me growing up and coming to this realization, or maybe EGM was just more kind of opinion and writer focused or whatever. But EGM was the first magazine for me where it seemed transparent, like, oh, these are like people writing this stuff. Like that would be cool
right.
to do. Because like and again, I don't know if I was just too young, but like reading Nintendo Power and stuff like that, it always read like such a sterile kind of magazine, you know?
Yeah.
Like here's
Yeah.
an article about a video game that's just very plain.
Yeah.
But I guess somewhat intentionally, because like Nintendo is publishing a magazine, so of course it's going to be, you know. How about you, Mike? When did you decide that you wanted to be the Mikey millionaire?
I still haven't decided that I want to be in the game industry. No, I don't. I like you guys. I had video game magazines and stuff back in the day. But I don't know. I was always more into like video editing kind of stuff, just goofing around. But I don't know. I was a little too. That was a little too early before YouTube or anything. So there was nothing you could really.
You never
do.
got into making like Flash intros and stuff like that for websites?
No, I used to toy around in Flash or try to make dumb little Flash games, but not, I don't know, it wasn't as fun as doing dumb videos with my friends and things. But I mean, it wasn't until like the App Store that you see that there's a possibility of, hey, like I know some people that are making games. Like why can't I make games? Like
it's so weird. It's so weird that the arrival of something like the iPhone created all these jobs for us and created us being friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like it's such a weird thing to think about.
Yeah, because I mean, it's one of those things where I mean, the games, I don't know if it's just because they don't have to be as complex, or it's just because the format is so simple to deliver games to, a ton of people.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a real possibility that, hey, like I could make something that would actually get to people.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through some sort of like, I wouldn't even to this day, I don't have any idea how to deal with some sort of major publisher or anything. I mean, not that Noodle Cake Studios isn't a major publisher, but for like consoles and stuff, that kind of stuff, like there was no way that I couldn't spend years on a some sort of elaborate console game or something. But you can make some funny little game. But,
yeah, I wish that I would have been more interested in backing up my files when I was in like high school and shortly after high school and stuff like that, because I had all sorts of dumb little like tiny Flash games that I made based on like I think the original Flash game that really got me into making Flash games was the various variations of Kick-Ups. Remember that? It's like the soccer game that you click the ball to just juggle it with your mouse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, is that what it was called? Kick-Ups? I guess that's what those are called, huh? Just the Kick-Ups themselves.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, when I was 16, I didn't really believe in backups and was constantly formatting my computer to reinstall like different weird versions of Linux and stuff like that. So nothing stayed around, which kind of sucks, because I'd really like to have some of that stuff now.
I mean, I don't know. Nowadays, I always think if what if YouTube was around, or even Vine and those kind of things.
How much
were
trouble
around
you get
when
into?
I was, huh?
How much trouble you get into?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where like you wonder, like it's one of those things where like, man, I used to make dumb videos like I see all around. I go, man, but that was so long ago that nothing existed where you'd upload it and people would see it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think like the so back in the day, in the like I guess 2000-ish, like I used to host a pretty large LAN party, and there were always people there that would like shoot videos of the videos are kind of whatever because there's a
Oh,
bunch
I
of people
bet they would
sitting
shoot
in a
videos
room.
of your parties.
Yeah. Bunch of people sitting in a room playing computer games, but like people would clip them together with like of course some kind of techno music and stuff like that. But what was kind of fascinating about it is the only way that after the event that you really had to distribute these was like, oh well, I'll bring it to the next one, kind of thing, or like, oh, all right, let me try to find an FTP I can upload this like 200 meg file to, or something like that. So
you just couldn't. It's so hard to share things back in the day.
here's this VHS tape of this video I made.
Yeah, check it out.
So
it's my LAN party. Best of LAN party.
I actually do have a VHS tape somewhere of a LAN party video that I'm like, I found it and wanted to watch it, and I was like, man, I don't even know where a VHS player would be. I guess I should check thrift stores or something. So, quick hits. What's your all-time favorite game? Jared, one answer, no explanation.
Am I really supposed to pick one though?
Just
Super Mario World.
Damn it, you son of a bitch.
Is that yours, Mike?
Sorry.
That's the only one I was queuing up.
So 2 Super Mario Worlds. Mine's Ultima Online.
It's either
Ultima.
What is it?
Ultima Online.
Ultima Online. It'd either have to be Super Mario World or Link to the Past for me. I think those are the two.
Those are two good ones.
Yeah, Super Mario World is. I've played that so many times through.
Well, you can be Link to the Past, and then Mike can be Super Mario World.
Yeah. You're trapped.
And then, how did you guys first meet? Jared was posting on the TouchArcade forums, and we kind of roped him in. Then we met at a 360 iDev conference in San Jose, California.
Yeah.
And then we met Mike. What
GDC?
Yeah, GDC. What year though? Like 2011?
Oh God, maybe 2012 or 11.
So like a year later, he came to one of our parties. And
what year did the first Mikey launch?
No, I think Mikey Shorts was. I think it was 2012.
Yeah, I think
because that was the GDC 2012 in March or whatever. I think that
feels like a lot longer ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a long ass time ago. But I mean, it's funny because I had already been on the TouchArcade forums, for a bit, and I knew who Jared was just from his TouchArcade forum persona.
Stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, so it was kind of funny just meeting people in real life, and I listened to the podcast and everything too, so it was kind of.
I don't know if I would say it was love at first sight as much as I was like, what is this child doing in a bar? I should escort him out. And it was like,
yeah, who is this?
Then it was like, oh hey, this is a grown man, and he has an iPhone game he wants to show me.
I remember you didn't even look at the game at GDC. It wasn't until WWDC that you actually looked at Mikey Shorts, or you first played it, and you're like, hey, this is actually like a real game, like or something like you.
Yeah.
Usually
it seemed like wait, you actually
shock.
made like a decent game. Wait a minute, I didn't.
Depending on when you catch me at those parties, like I'm either super interested in seeing your game or very much over seeing your game.
Yeah.
So you might have caught me during the very much over seeing your game portion of
it's a pretty exhausting thing.
The evening, yeah.
I think when I first handed Jared, because he knew me from like Twitter.
I think Carter might have even been there, but he was writing for 148 apps at the
Carter
time.
was one of the first people to actually see Mikey Shorts. He's one of the first people to play it, because Jared was busy handing or giving wristbands out for like whatever your free booze, or I don't know what it was, but and then I handed Jared my business card because he didn't know what I looked like. He didn't know whatever, and he just saw Beaver Tap Games and chuckled. And said, he said something like, "I like it. We'll talk later." And then he did a double take at the name. He's like, "Wait a minute, Mike? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Is this a real card? Like, is this a real company? Is it a real card?
Like the coupon?"
Yeah, pretty much. It's like he only knows me from Hook Champ, so it's kind of funny. I would put Hook Champ up as one of my top games. I played the S out of that.
Hook Champ over Super Mario World? That's insane.
Maybe not over Super Mario, but it's. I played a lot of Hook Champ. Like, I don't know, that was a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of weird thinking about the favorite game question, because I honestly think you'd have to go kind of far down my personal list to find an iPhone game, which might sound weird, consider eat, sleep, and breathe iPhone games, but you also have to consider when you've been playing games for 30 years.
Yeah.
There's some games that you've been playing for consistently over and over longer than the iPhone has even existed.
Yeah.
So,
There's just so many. It's so hard to just pick one or even like five
yeah.
or whatever. There's so many games that I like for so many different reasons. And that's why I also can't really pick like a favorite movie or favorite song or anything.
It's kind
It's
of
just too hard.
making
Yeah.
me dread the idea of doing the best of stuff.
Oh, it's
I
such
know.
a pain in the ass every year.
I love your guys' list. You always try to narrow it down. When you used to do the podcast and try to, with you guys and Brad, and you guys would all try to narrow things down. Like it's such because it's every game. It seems it's so different to compare genres and everything. It's just like it's like whatever game you're in the mood for at the time or something, or whatever game I don't know. Because some games are better just like once through maybe like you don't really replay it that much.
Yeah.
But it's a really good game, like The Room or something. Like it's really good. Like when the first time you play it, and it's like you're trying to figure it out, like what the heck's going on. But I mean, playing it again might not be, even Monument Valley or something. Playing it over again is like different. But
Yeah,
you compare it to
anything
a
that
game where you get
has like
the
one
endless
rigid
game.
solution. It's like.
Then you're comparing that to everything else. But hey, I would be fine even just picking like a Grand Theft Auto game just to drive around and do dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Without even playing the actual game. I mean, like the missions or anything. Just give me some weapons and just let me drive around.
Wow. Well, thanks for the email,
just
Kyle.
Just like real life.
We really appreciate it and appreciate everyone that has reached out to us. If you want to send us an email, it's podcast@toucharcade.com, or you can just leave an iTunes review. We'll see them both. So whatever you want to do. You guys want to take a quick break, come back, and discuss some games and stuff?
Surely.
All right.
Let's do it.
So Mob Crush / YouTube people, you get to hear this week's podcast advertisement stuttered over in real time. So here's the basic gist of the script. We'll see if we can do this in one take. Do you like trains and you'll love tiny tracks? Solve shunting puzzles to collect locomotives and wagons in beautiful 3D, then run them on your personal train sets. Complete the puzzles quickly and unlock extra scenery and layouts. Written by the Apple Design Award-winning developer Strange Flavor, Tiny Tracks is universal and on the App Store now for just $2.99. Find out more at strangeflavor.com. And that's flavor spelled with a U, FLAVOUR.com. So yeah, I didn't even know those puzzles were called shunting.
Do you like trains? Well, then you'll probably like this. I was like, beautiful rendition.
Well, whatever. Did you know those puzzles were called shunting puzzles?
What?
No.
I didn't even know that was a thing. So I guess learn something new every day. We have to pee here. Should we get started on section 2?
Section 2. Let's do section 2.
That sounds like a secret project or something.
This is a secret project. All right, cool.
2.
All right, guys, we're back. Section 2 of the podcast, which apparently is.
You should have just said section 3, and then people will be like, "Wait, what did I?
Something worth
What did I miss?
ridiculing me
What the
over.
hell?"
So I guess this week, biggest game that I played, Final Fantasy VII, kind of came out of nowhere. If you would ask me to put some money down on what I thought the launch of this game was going to be like, I would say, I think I kind of said this on the stream too, so if you watch the stream, you already know this, but I would say Final Fantasy VII was going to come out in the very last month of August in Japan only, not localized. And then everyone would be like, WTF, what's going on? Like, where's the English version? What the hell, Square? And then it would just randomly pop up sometime before Christmas on the US App Store. But I guess instead what we got was it randomly popping up in New Zealand. And then everywhere else worldwide.
Being out everywhere. It seems like I expected more fanfare, I guess, from Square Enix about this.
Yeah, it seems weird, right? Because Final Fantasy VII, I would say, is probably their nostalgic Final Fantasy titles, is probably the biggest, right?
Yeah, and it just sort of showed up in New Zealand, so it's like that tips everyone off that it's coming out like, what is it, 18 hours ahead of time or something crazy like that. So
basically,
yeah, so it's not like a big surprise by the time it starts getting around the world and word gets around. And then I thought it was funny they uploaded like a trailer to their YouTube channel, and that was another thing I saw people cite as like the source of tipping them off. They were like, "Oh, Square just uploaded the video for this. It must be coming out soon or whatever." And then like a couple hours after that, they made the video private. I was like, "Dude, once the cat's out of the bag, the cat's out of the bag."
Yeah, not only that, but the
Go
video had been
back.
posted on like very big sites like Kotaku and stuff like that.
Yeah, and now they have a video that doesn't work, and it's like, what? You're not doing yourself any good by trying to hide that video now.
Yeah.
Plus, the game is out in a lot of countries. Like, it's not a secret. It's just roll with it. But, not only roll with it, but make a big deal out of it. But I guess everyone pretty much made a big deal out of it for them. So
Yeah. If nothing else, like it was kind of amusing watching the launch of this game and like everyone else trying to scramble to cover it, because like the bigger gaming blogs, or I guess the mainstream typical console PC gaming blogs, like just have no idea how to deal with mobile.
Yeah.
It was like the tap dancing around attempting to explain how like regions worked on the App Store was pretty amusing to me and stuff. And
it seems to be out in New Zealand or something, and maybe it's coming to US. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like just normal for us. But this game is interesting to me because I've never played it myself.
Really?
But like physically played it myself. But the year it came out was like I'm pretty close by to like my best friend at the time, and it was the kind of thing where like during the summer when school's out, like you're hanging out at each other's house like literally every day, and so there was this stretch where I was like staying the night at his house for, I don't know, a couple weeks straight or something like that. And he was super heavy into this game. And so I basically like secondhand experienced playing the game without actually playing it, because I just watched him play it every day. Like that was what we'd do every day. Like we'd, have a little slumber party and then wake up and then Final Fantasy 7 until we went to sleep at night. Maybe some eating food mixed in or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool. Like I have a lot of like weird nostalgic feelings for this game, even though I didn't like actually play it firsthand. But I remember playing through with him, watching him and just being like really taken in with the characters and the story and the world, and it was really like mind blowing at the time. And so I don't know. It'll be interesting. I need to make some room, but I'm going to download this on my phone and try and give it a go and see if I can make it through. I guess I could just turn all the cheat stuff on and blast through it. But yeah, it's a big deal that this came out on mobile. I think it's pretty cool.
As far as the port's concerned, I mean, it's basically what you expected, I think, it to be. In that it's I guess it's a port of the PC version of the game, which makes it look ever so slightly better than the original PlayStation version.
Yeah.
It's got zany virtual controls, much. Basically, imagine the PlayStation controller you used to play Final Fantasy VII mapped all over the screen.
Yeah.
But it runs really well. I mean, I have no complaints. I read on our forums that people with even older hardware and stuff, like, it runs flawless. So
that's cool.
I mean, which makes sense because the game is like 20 years old, so it should run well, you would think. I'm actually kind of interested to see Sean's review of this, because so I posted, the whole internet was going Final Fantasy VII crazy on Wednesday when this hit the App Store. So I spent like an hour and a half streaming it on Mob Crush, and then I went and grabbed some dinner and wrote up kind of like a first impressions piece while I ate. And I kind of, I don't know, maybe I was too negative on the fact that you can turn battles off anytime. So I guess if you didn't read our first impressions post, the game has two pretty openly blatant kind of cheater options, or at least what feel to me like cheater options. So on the main screen, as part of the virtual control overlay, at any time you can toggle on and off whether or not you want random battles to occur. And then you have to kind of dig into the menus, but you can also max all your dude stats. So just with a push of a button, all your guys are level 99 with 9,999 hit points, and however many nines it takes for your gold to be filled.
Yeah.
And as much, whatever the maximum amount of MP is, I don't even know. But so yeah, I think the random encounter thing is a real strange decision to put that so front and center. Because like you know, Sean was kind of arguing like, you know, if you just want to play a game for the story or whatever, like, you know, go nuts. Like, it's still gonna be a fun game with no random encounters and all this stuff.
Right.
But I don't know. I guess I it seems to me like it would kind of not have what I like so much about the Final Fantasy VII kind of game as a whole. Is like the battle system was so good. Like, I would say the battle system of Final Fantasy VII uh, is maybe even the best of the whole Final Fantasy series for me.
Uh-huh.
Which I don't know. I mean, I guess people are opinionated about that kind of thing, but I don't know. Like, part of playing a Final Fantasy game is like is kind of the rush of being like, oh my god, I have to make it to the save point. Two of my dudes are dead. I only have like one potion left. I have no Phoenix Downs. Like, I just need to get there, use a tent or, you know, whatever, or to get out of this dungeon and get back to the overworld so I can save and get on my airship and stuff like that. And I don't know, it really feels like that would be totally, like, that kind of, you know, excitement would be totally removed by just saying, oh, well, my dudes are kind of low. I'm just going to toggle off battles and walk back to town.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing, right? I don't know. We'll see. I guess other people aren't as down on it as I was, but whatever. Kind of
Whatever, other people.
kind of curious to see, like, you know, how all that kind of shakes out if they end up doing anything about it, because like the backlash is severe, or if, you know, we're just whiners that need to shut up, or
Yeah.
whatever else. So I don't know, but really good port. I mean, if you never played Final Fantasy VII, or you have played Final Fantasy VII and you want to spend $16, like, I think it's worth buying just for, you know, maybe the hour or two you'll play it before you get your nostalgia fill. Like, I don't know, hearing some of the original music is like a real twinge of like, oh, I remember this, so good,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I don't know, what did you guys play?
Horizon Chase,
And
best game in the world. Well, there's Burger the game too, but we'll get to that in a minute.
right,
Yeah, Horizon Chase, man, is like, oh god, hits all the right buttons for me. It's like close to perfect. And we've posted about it before it came out, but it was like you know, inspired by like Outrun and Top Gear and you know, all those old school sort of racing games before we had like big 3D worlds and stuff like that, where you can just make like actual racing games. They were sort of more, you know, they had to use some tricks with sprites and stuff like that to make it seem like you were driving somewhere in something like Outrun. So they sort of took that aesthetic but applied it to like modern technology. And so what you have is really, it's like a voxel racing game basically. It's like it's like retro, but it's actually in 3D. The tracks are actually built in a 3D world, and the cars are actually 3D. The thing runs at like 60 frames a second. It's like super duper smooth. And so it's weird that you're playing this and you're getting that same feeling of like, oh, I'm playing like old school Outrun or whatever, but it's like not. It's new, and they just totally nailed it with that. So I don't know. I can't really find anything that I don't like about this game. The sense of speed is really good. The controls are really good. The racing is really good. The AI is surprisingly good, and not
Seems
just
like
canned.
I think the best way to describe it is like, imagine if we lived in a universe where Rad Racer and similar games didn't exist, and you woke up in 2015 and were like, I'm gonna make Rad Racer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it also has the graphics, how they look. It's almost like they look sort of retro-y, you know, because they're kind of blocky, like the voxel kind of look. I feel like it reminds me of how people would look at modern iOS games that say it's, oh, these are like 8-bit or 16-bit graphics.
Yeah.
But if you actually compared it to the, you know, older systems, like there's no way, like the new ones look like way more, you know, like way nicer. But I mean, this is like, you know, the vibe is there though. It gives you the feel of like, this looks like an older kind of style game, but it still looks so. This one, you know, it looks so smooth, you know, like the graphics and everything looks so nice. But it totally reminds me of like the Outrun and Rad Racer kind of stuff. Which is cool.
Yeah, like same thing with Wayward Souls, where it was like designed as sort of like being a 16-bit era game, but it does things that you couldn't have done back then, like
Yeah,
graphical things that weren't
exactly.
possible then. And that's how I feel about this. It's like I don't know. It's so weird. It's like an old game made now, and it's just so much fun though. Like it's just fun to play. God, I can't think of anything. I'm trying to think of a negative or something, but I just like it so much.
Yeah, this is a Jared Nelson game. Like even as soon as I saw it, anything that looks like Outrun, I always think like, oh, I
Oh,
wonder
it's,
what
it's
Jared.
a
I wonder
Jared
what
Nelson
Jared.
game.
Yeah, I wonder what Jared Nelson thinks of this one. You know, like it's always
Well, I was the
funny.
one that was always like championing Final Freeway, which were like
Yeah,
the Outrun inspired sort of games on mobile, um, and yeah, I just really like those games. I think
it
they're
had like
fun. I like
the humor. Like it had some like the humor of it, sort of like it was
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
a funnier, look to it, like the old school.
But like I think with racing games, like they've progressed so much that it's hard for me to get into them because a lot of times they're too complicated, or there's just too much going on. I prefer sort of like more of a simpler game where you're just kind of racing, trying to come in first, and that's sort of it. And this game is close to that. It's got enough complexity that it doesn't feel like it's just some basic game, but at the same time, it doesn't do anything over the top that's like hard to come to grips with or learn how to play or learn how to unlock things or progress or whatever. It's all really straightforward. So yeah, I don't know. I like it. It's my favorite game. All these other games have come out.
Wow.
This one's my favorite.
Have you been playing a lot of Pac-Man now that you can get it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, not a lot, but I've been playing it a little, and it's like the more I play it, the more I like it.
Yeah, Pac-Man 256 is real good.
Yeah,
Real good.
Yeah, it's crazy that it feels like I don't know. It still feels like Pac-Man with being totally different at the same time. You know what I mean? It still has that sort of essence of the original Pac-Man, but it's not. It's totally different goals. Basically, it's this weird endless game, and there's power-ups and all this other stuff going on, randomly generated levels. But at the end of the day, it still feels like a Pac-Man game, which I think is really seems like it would be a hard thing to do. So kudos.
I've seen a lot of the only kind of pushback I've seen on this game is the price of the unlimited credits.
Yeah, which I think
$8.
is kind of weird. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's such a weird thing because I think it comes down to perception more than anything, and people that say like, yeah, I'm down to spend money on a game. It's fine. I don't like free to play. I want to pay for a game, like whatever. And then something like this comes along, and you would think like, okay, there's a coin doubler and there's an unlimited lives thing. Together, it's like $13. So if this game was like $12.99 with no in-app purchase anything, there's people to be like, oh, that's cool, like a new Pac-Man game, and it's fun, and I'll spend $13 for it, and then I'm done. But instead, they sort of split it up into two, so you can buy the unlimited credits thing, or you can buy the coin doubler, which you would think would be a good thing. It'd be like, hey, spend as much money as you feel comfortable based on what you want to buy.
Yeah. Like I think the coin doubler is even kind of stupid. Like
I mean, you'll just get those coins eventually anyway. So yeah, I don't know. It's just like it seems strange because I've seen a lot of people get really offended. They're like, oh man, I like this game and I ran out of credits and the pop-up came up and I bought the unlimited credits and then I find out there's a doubler and nobody told me about that and it's super underhanded. I already gave you $8. Now I got to give you more and blah 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 and all this stuff. And it's like, man, you really cannot win as a developer. Like,
that's kind of what I was thinking. I was kind of wondering if it was like, the unlimited credits was 6 and like the coin doubler was 2 for $8 total. If people would still be upset, like if it's
I think it's a perception thing because they see it as like, whether intentional or not, they bought one thing and then felt like they should be done, and because they're not, they get super offended about it. And I don't know. I mean, I don't really know the answer to that except maybe have a paid game where a lot of those same people that are downloading the free one and enjoying it and deciding I want to spend money on this thing wouldn't have gotten it in the first place.
Yeah,
if it had a price tag up front. So I don't know.
Thing's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know, it kind of it just made me like seeing all the controversy around the pricing of the unlocks is just like, man, what the
Yeah.
like these
There was
people are doing exactly what people are always whining about, and they're
right.
still not happy when it's like this game. I mean, like, look at the other side of the coin. Like, this could have been the most offensive free to play game on the planet. Like, they could
Yeah.
they could have done the giant full screen video ads over every play and give you no way to get unlimited lives, and you just have to either wait or keep buying them or whatever else.
Right.
And
Yeah.
instead, it seems like they pushed the envelope as far as they could towards it still kind of being a free to play game, but giving you the ability to turn it into a premium game for
Right.
X dollars, and that's still not enough. So
Yeah, it's really similar to what Skyforce did too, where they were like a very free to play game, but then they had like a few different unlocks, and it's like if you bought everything, you basically had a premium game. But some people didn't see it like that, and a lot of people got really mad about it. And I don't really know what to tell you. Or I actually read there's like a postmortem on that Nubs Adventure game. Do you remember that, the little platformer came out a couple months ago?
yeah.
Super good game. Like Sean, I think it was Sean, gave 5 stars. It's like super good platformer. And his postmortem is talking about like, I didn't know about what way to go about pricing, because you hear all these things about paid games, you hear all this stuff about free to play, and it's like you don't really know what to do. And so he was like, well, I'll do basically I'm gonna try and find a solution that's like the best of both worlds, where it's basically you get to download the game, basically play the whole first level for free, and then you get to a certain point, and then the game actually throws up a big wall, like and he laughs at it, because it's literally a paywall, and that's what he designed it as, is like a paywall. Like you got to play a bunch of this first level for free to see if you liked it. Now here is the literal wall. You can't move any further in the game until you remove this wall by paying. But he's like real upfront about like, this is just a pay once thing. You're basically unlocking the full game. I think it was $5, and once you buy this one thing, that's it. So it's essentially just a free demo with a paid unlock, which is what everyone says that they like. And the backlash he got for that was like ridiculous. Like some of the iTunes reviews and Google reviews and stuff were like, this is a bait and switch. It said it was a free game, and I was playing it, and all of a sudden this wall came up, and I couldn't move. I've never seen anything more despicable in my life, and all this stuff, and just basically railing against this dude who thought like, oh, this would be cute. I'm gonna like put an actual paywall in the game, and he's trying to be as friendly as possible, where it's just like pay once, unlock sort of thing, and still got shit on.
Yeah.
And so it goes back to just that you can't win no matter what.
I mean,
so just do what's best for you as a developer. Don't worry about what other people might think. Do what's going to work best for the game you're making and for you as a developer. And because there's always going to be haters. So
yeah, I mean that's I definitely think that them trying to make it fair for people that always say they want a single an unlock to make it not free to play has been to the detriment of the success of the game, because right now it's number 2 free in the US, and I am not finding it anywhere on the top grossing, which if this was all free to play out, it would probably be in the top 20-ish, no problem.
Yeah, that's one of the weird things, is that you have to like be aggressive with it, and a lot of developers take the attitude of like, well, I don't want to piss anyone off, or I don't want it to seem like I'm being a jerk with
like,
with
do you
how
want to
I'm
make
doing
your
this
next game, or do you
whatever.
want to worry about pissing people off is the problem,
basically. So that's why I say, if you're gonna do a paid game, go full blown, be a paid game. If you're gonna be a free game, go full blown and be a free to play game. It's really hard to try and straddle the line, and it ends up making enemies on both sides. And may or may not work out for you.
Yeah, so I don't know. I still am enjoying Pac-Man 256. Like, that's the thing. It's an amazing game.
Yeah, it's really good.
And you never like the thing that's wild about people bitching about it is you literally never need to spend money on it ever. Like, you can play the free mode for eternity. And well, whatever. You guys want to talk about Pancake the game?
It's
Burger
the game.
Sorry, Burger the game.
It's the sequel. Yes, dude. Oh god, I hate that I love this game, but it's so fun. So you might remember, what was it, a few months ago that Pancake the game came out?
Yeah.
And it was like this stupid, silly sort of mini game about
What is
you know,
the
you have
name of it?
frying
Just Burger the Game?
burger the game. And yeah, pancake was like you had a frying pan that you could you were trying to flip a pancake as many times as you could without it falling off your frying pan or
Right.
whatever. It was like a stupid little mini game, whatever. Well, this is sort of the spin-off or the sequel, and you're flipping burger patties onto a bun, and your goal is to flip and stack as many as you can on every burger or sandwich that you make. So it's like sort of the same idea as pancake, but not quite. It's like slightly different, and it's actually uses like a different set of skills, I guess you could say. Um, but it's really fun, and yeah, it's funny. There's a ton of unlockables too, and so you start out with like beef, and you're making burgers, and you're flipping them onto a bun, and then the second you stack as many as you can. The second you drop one, the game ends, and then they top the bun on the burger, and that's what you got. So far, my high score is 10, but
That's pretty good.
it's not bad.
I got
So,
4 and was like, oh my god, that's amazing. I'm never gonna top that.
So yeah, the other weird thing is that you unlock different things based on it kind of like keeps in a cumulative total of how many burgers you've stacked or patties you've stacked or whatever. And so there's a whole screen of all these unlockables that's like different types of animals basically, or not even animals, sometimes items. And so my favorite right now is the lobster, and so I'm slicing off and making lobster sandwiches. But it's mostly just it doesn't change anything. It's just aesthetic. It's like it's not like any one patty is like has different physics or anything like that. Which I thought at first that's how was the case, because I was like, dude, I'm doing way better with lobster than I am with beef. But I actually think they're the same. So anyway, yeah, this is just a silly little free game. There's a little banner on the bottom. It doesn't really get in the way or anything. I do wish you could disable it, but whatever. And yeah, if you like pancake or you like silly one-tap mini games, this one's a good one. I would check it out.
Yeah. There was one other game that I wanted to talk about. What was it though? Oh, this Beat Bop clicker game that is currently featured on the App Store. Did you guys play this?
Beat Bop? No.
It where is it? Let me see if I can find it. It's for
The the treasure chest looking icon?
No, I'm trying
Oh.
to find the full title.
Mm-mm.
Shit. Hang on. This is
Not
how you
Clicker Heroes.
this is how you do stuff with no fact checking. See what
Beat Bop.
what is the full name of this game? Like, I have it running on my iPad right now. I don't know how to get back to
Mhm.
the menu of any. I don't know. I think it's called like Beat Bop Clicker or something like that. Is
Beat
there
Bop
like a... No, that's not it. Oh, here, let's hit rate game.
Did you just make this game up in your head?
No, I'm trying to find it on the App Store. Like,
Is it out or is it like a New Zealand game?
Oh,
or,
maybe I downloaded this
Can-
on New Zealand.
or
Maybe
a
that is.
Canadian game or something.
Maybe that is what I did. I mean, I think I was on the New
Is
Zealand
it soft
account.
launched or is it?
Yeah, let me. I don't know if I can easily switch regions on my iPad. But anyway, it's the reason I want to talk about it is because it's a clicker, and it's probably soft launch if it's not on the U.S. App Store, and I can't find anything about it. But so it does all the same tricks as Bitcoin Billionaire, which they like with the boosters for watching ads and things like that, and I was kind of amazed by how similar it is and how little it was interesting me because of the subject matter. Like it seems like when you think about it, all these clicker games are kind of pretty similar to one another, right?
Oh yeah.
But if the subject matter isn't clicking with you, like it's not going to go anywhere. So like in this game, instead of mining bitcoins or whatever else, you start as like a college student kind of person with a cardboard guitar, And you're just
Okay.
clicking to play the guitar, and as you click, you're getting tips, and like each of your clicks is a tip.
Mm-hmm.
And then like much like any clicker, you eventually your persistent money is being made through offering merchandise. So like one of your first things is like you get stickers made, and you're selling your stickers, and then you slowly upgrade your band and stuff like that. But it's kind of, I don't know, kind of realizing this made me have this like moment of clarity of App Store crappiness, and kind of realizing why those Frozen Match 3 games do so well and stuff, because it's like it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, the game is the same. Like a Match 3 is a Match 3, a clicker is a clicker, but someone really likes Frozen and wants to play the Frozen game. So
it's like all those Clash of Clan games, or even just like the farming kind of games like Simpsons or Family Guy. Like they're all similar as those other things where you're just tapping a bunch of stuff to upgrade things and whatnot, or set timers. But it's like if you like, the Simpsons, you might as well do the Simpsons one.
Right.
Maybe you don't want to play some farm one, or you don't want to do anything farm related, food related.
So, unless anyone has any other games to talk about, we could switch gears and do some quick news real quick.
Sure.
So, if you are into Radiant game stuff, Devastator is a game coming very soon, I think, right?
The Devastator.
Next 2 to 3 weeks. It'll be $2.
2 to 3 weeks. Yeah.
So, Radiant game stuff is always good. You should add to your watch list. Crescent Moon's platformer, The Deer God, is finally coming. It'll be out September 3rd.
I'm excited for that.
I feel like we've been hearing about this for a real long time, right?
Yeah.
Well, he had 2 years.
It came out on Steam, didn't it? Like early access or something, or at least
it's out on Steam since February.
Yeah. I think I have it.
Do you have it on Steam?
I think I got it on Steam when it came out. I haven't played it much, so.
I think kind of the last, I guess, I don't know, the last thing that I kind of wanted to mention was the League of Legends free game.
Oh, I played that.
Blitzcrank's Poro Roundup.
Speaking of Atari 2600, when I used to play Stampede, did you ever play that game, Stampede?
Maybe.
Stampede. Like, Google Stampede Atari 2600. It's like the same game. It's like a funny. As soon as it started up, and I realized you're like kind of rounding up things, I was like, hey, wait a minute, this is Stampede.
This game is way better than I was expecting it to be.
It's pretty fun.
Stampede.
I thought it was like gonna be super basic and easy.
Well, the first impression is certainly that. Like your first 30 seconds, you're like, "Oh, this is dumb."
Yeah, but there's like some layers to this game, and it's kind of crazy. I actually really like it as not a person that doesn't even play League of Legends.
Oh, so that's why I was going to ask you, because like for me, playing League of Legends and knowing all the places you're running through and all the characters you come across and stuff like that, I'm like, man, this is like super clever. The stuff they're doing here. But you enjoy it because it's a fun game.
Absolutely nothing to me. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. But yeah, it's totally free, no in-app purchase or anything. But I guess it's only going to be available for a limited time.
Yeah. They're doing some special thing called the League of Legends Arcade right now. I don't know what that is.
Oh yeah. There's a bunch of arcade skins you can buy.
Oh yeah, there's a theme in the game or something. So it's only going to be around as long as that's around, which I guess that ends
the 21st.
Isn't that what Riot's known for? Having limited time stuff every now and then that you can only...
So definitely download this before, I guess, in the next 30 days. It's really good. Surprisingly good, and there's no free-to-play shenanigans or anything else like that.
I'm sure it'll climb the charts a bit, especially once that the North American finals are this weekend.
Yeah.
Or on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll be they get a ton of viewers that they'll be able to say, hey, check out the game.
Oh,
is it iOS only, or is it
what?
Like, I don't know.
iOS or Android, or I don't even know.
I guess one last thing that's worth mentioning is this week's Hearthstone Tavern Brawl is the grand tournament stuff. So if you want a tease of the new cards, which are coming out on Monday, I believe, you should give it a shot.
How'd you just gloss over playing as a walrus in Spider 2?
I just saw that article earlier too.
Did you want to talk about that?
I just think it's funny.
Oh.
Like, because, I don't like spiders at all. And so a lot of the times I've written about this game, it's always includes some sort of like spiders are the worst. And you know, it's not to the point of where I like I wouldn't play spider games or anything like that. But
We
you
saw
know,
that
I've
reaction
heard of-
though. Like when we made it our game
No,
of the year,
we
people that were
did.
like, "Oh, I'd love to play this, but I'm so scared of spiders that I can't even like look at them
Yeah,
on a computer
yeah,
screen."
like I literally can't play. And so they sent us this email, and they were like, you know, that was the biggest criticism we heard about the first Spider was that people that didn't like spiders didn't want to play it. And so they did something about that for Spider 2, and that something is that they have a playable walrus instead of a spider. Um, which I feel like is so random, like that's the creature that they chose to replace a spider with is
It's like,
a
oh,
walrus.
you have a fear of spiders. Let's see. How do you feel about walruses?
Yeah,
Like,
I know. Like,
that's the next
well,
in line.
it's funny because I mean, you really can't get more opposite from a spider than a walrus. I mean, spiders are tiny; they have a bunch of legs. Walruses are giant, fat, sluggish animals. It's just like such a funny thing to think about playing as this tiny little spider-sized walrus through Spider 2. And I actually did the code and stuff. You just basically punch in a certain name under your save file to unlock the walrus. It's real easy. And it's just silly, like a walrus shooting around the house, making webs and stuff. So it's really cool. So if you're creeped out by spiders and you don't want to play Spider because of that, don't let that be a deterrent. You can play as a walrus. If you're scared of both spiders and walruses, you're screwed.
You should
Yeah,
probably
sorry
seek
about that.
mental health care at that point.
I'll play as the
Yeah.
spider. I'm deathly afraid of walruses. How did
Yeah.
how did that game do anyway? I didn't even see it on the charts.
Oh, there
I
was
don't-
there was a comment on Carter's. We can talk about that too if you give me a second to find it.
about
Yeah,
spider.
I worry about that. Game not doing well.
I mean, I don't think I
See,
saw it that much. I remember looking to see if, like, you know, I like seeing how games, like especially paid games, I like seeing how see if I'm like watch them climb the charts. And then I was looking around. I go, I don't think I see it. I saw it in the games, like the games section, you know, somewhere at some point. But
Oh,
I don't know if I don't know how popular.
This is gonna be
'Cause the
hard
first
to
one seemed
find.
like it was like hugely popular over the the years, or like it seemed like a big hit. But
Well, yeah, I mean, different time, different place,
yeah,
different.
I just
app
don't know
store.
nowadays, especially with the paid app. I don't know if people even would know what it was. Like if you said the Spider game or Spider, people would be like, "What is that? Is it free?"
Yeah, no, I'm trying to find their comment right now. They left a comment that said it wasn't doing great.
Oh, the actual developers.
Yeah, Tiger Style did. Except
Yeah,
there's
I was worried about that too.
Sad.
all these
It's because
people just
I don't know. It feels
ranting.
like it took since it didn't it take like super long for them to.
Okay, here
Oh,
we
yeah.
go.
Oh, he's got it.
So this is the comment left a day ago on Carter's. If you want more paid games, you should pay for them, kind of thing that he wrote. So Tiger Style says, "Thanks to all who support premium mobile games. I will say this article matches our experience. Spider Right of the Shrouded Moon is so far running a lot less than our prior games, even though it was more highly rated and receiving broader coverage in the traditional press." He said, "We've had a hard time getting traction with YouTubers, streamers, though. We put a lot of time and money into that game, which I believe shows in the scope and production quality. It's a known quantity, a scaled-up sequel to a beloved iOS classic, and none of that seems to have helped enough. Unless the trend changes, we'll need to switch to making smaller, more focused games closer to Prune in scope. Indie companies mostly can't make free-to-play games because you typically need to spend millions of dollars buying your audience, and I'm not sure we could do that even if we could. But yeah, like the man says, as the premium game markets dwindle, we can't make a living doing that even if we would like to. If enough devs have our experience, there will be much fewer premium games available to play." So
Sounds
Super
about right.
depressing.
the
Yeah,
proof's in the
that's-
pudding right there. Like, if there's a game that should have done amazing, it's Spider 2.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how you would, take that and try to make it more accessible, or more like how do you get that, I always so many things that you can, tweak.
I mean,
or that are
I-
available to tweak. Like, is it something wrong with the icon? Was there something wrong with something? Like what?
yeah.
What didn't people? Is
I mean,
just
it
the
got-
$5? Like
The problem, this is the exact problem with paid games right now, is that they had really good featuring. Like they didn't get editors or editor's choice or whatever, but like they still had slot number 2, I think, or slot number 1 on the best new games or whatever. So that's arguably just as good, if not better, because I've heard that people like editor's choice might not be the top spot because a lot of people think that those slots are paid for. So they, like, people that scan the app store see that as like the ad, and then they go down to like the first new game kind of thing. So I've heard people make arguments that being number 1 in best new games is better than being editor's choice. But anyway, so a crazy amount of coverage across the board because they launched on iOS and Steam, I think, at the same time, right?
Yeah, and all the big sites covered them.
So yeah, all the big sites covered them. Like everyone had, maybe not necessarily like launch day reviews up, but certainly positive coverage, either on launch or very shortly after. Like every community that I follow has anything to do with gaming on the internet had pretty vibrant discussion about the game. Including like iOS sites and more mainstream gaming sites and stuff like that. And
it really couldn't have gone better.
Yeah, like seriously, I can't tell you one thing that they could have done differently that would have made the launch better for them.
Yeah, and the real killer is that Tiger Style's like 2 main dudes and then like a handful of freelancers that they use for their projects and stuff like that. But I mean, even with them taken into account, it's a small team.
Yeah.
So it's not like a game that has to cover its nut for like 100 employees or something like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like they're really smart about their development. So I imagine that game was made as lean as it possibly could be as far as costs are concerned.
So the fact that it's still not doing well, despite all of those things, is super depressing. And I think the solution or the best route, I would say, is that games like that, like Spider's just not a mainstream game, I don't think. It's not going to break through to those people that play mainstream iPhone games.
Yeah, but it is a very good game.
As it is, and as I think it's very accessible, and I think it's very interesting even for people that don't play games typically. I think storyline-wise and atmosphere and stuff, there's just a lot to like for a wide variety of people. But I still think that you're not going to break through to that critical mass type thing that these other mobile games do. So I think they should have launched it like $15 or something, and just bet on their niche audience paying the higher prices to make up the difference, rather than $5, which is still seen as high by a lot of people. But you still need to like get a crazy amount of downloads to make that kind of worthwhile. And so I don't know. I just think like as a game like that, just be expensive and be paid, and just know you're not going to break through to the mass of people, and just focus on your smaller audience that's willing to pay more to make up the difference. But who knows if that would work too. So
it would be interesting to see like a alternate reality where they did launch both iOS and Steam at $15 and just said, you know what, here it is.
See what happens.
Buy it on whatever platform you want. We think it's worth $15.
Yeah.
Go for
at least.
I mean, I would have bought it.
Yeah, it's like it's so weird to even talk about things like a game being expensive at $15. Like that just blows my mind because I've spent $50 or $60 on video games my whole life. So
it's like talking about Final Fantasy VII, back in the day. You're getting like that wasn't 15 or $16 back in the day. That was
right.
More. Like nowadays, but that sounds like super pricey for people for anything. I mean, unless you're console. I mean, you're a console game nowadays. You can't get away with more than $50 or more than you can't get away with more than $5.
I've seen so many people hemming and hawing about the $15 for Final Fantasy VII on iPhone.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, dude, and it's like the same kind of people too. It goes back to like Carter's article. It's the same type of people that hate the free-to-play games, but then they're like, oh, $15. Well, it's got these virtual buttons and there's borders on the side and all this stuff, and I already own this on Steam, and I've owned the PlayStation version. It's like all these reasons of like not spending $15 for an awesome game that you can have on your phone. Like what is $15? Like, dude, if you like that game, buy it. Like, I don't know. It just seems so weird to like make it these grand life choices when they're really not. It's like a super cheap game even at $15.
Yeah.
So if you want it on your phone, buy it. Big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I feel like Apple should be worried that a game like Spider can kind of bomb out on the App Store.
Well, it's like it's an Apple game.
Yeah,
like, I'm sure the people at Apple are just like, this thing's beautiful, it's touchscreen, awesome, it's like the exact type thing we like people to make. and yeah, it's not doing well. That
Yeah,
sucks.
I mean, like, seriously, like, I genuinely don't know what they could have done different, other than I guess
Yeah,
fiddle with the price point, like you were saying. But like, man, I
yeah,
don't.
It's got to be some. It's got to be the price. Just when people look at maybe the screenshots or something, and they're trying to figure out what the game maybe is, and then looking at $5, you go, oh man, I don't know. Am I gonna like this for $5? Is that
I
gonna be
guess it
good enough?
goes to show like how little purchase research your typical uh, like iPhone owner or iPad owner is kind of willing to do. Because if you went to Google and typed in like Spider right of, or even just like Spider iOS game,
yeah.
or whatever,
Oh,
and
you
just hit
get some
enter,
plenty of videos
yeah,
and
there'd be
reviews
endless
and
videos, endless positive reviews, and everything else. But I don't know.
and he mentions the lack of YouTubers that didn't really pick up on the game, and it reminded me of just the other day. PewDiePie did a video with Piloteer. He did
Really?
like and he called the video was called Realistic Jetpack Simulator, and then he has like links to the Piloteer, um, like game in his description and everything. He's
So is,
playing
is
Piloteer,
Whit
and
Trabella on his private yacht somewhere right
no,
now?
so like no, but see the thing is like it's a funny video because I don't know, I like PewDiePie the way he edits his videos like I think pretty decent. Keeps them like 5 minutes, keeps or under 5 minutes or so. Yeah, for the ones that he does like mobile games, I think it keeps it tight, knows his audience. But there's so many wacky things that you can do in Piloteer of like failing, just totally butchering your landing and whatnot. But so I thought it was a good demonstration of what Piloteer is. Like if you looked at Piloteer screenshots, you wouldn't have any idea. Like on the App Store, you wouldn't maybe if and it's $3. So you're
Yeah,
looking at and you'd be like, what do I do? What is this game? It's art style. You're not sure what's going on for $3 maybe, but
yeah, yeah,
when you see PewDiePie play it and he's like, you know, it looks like it's kind of funny and he's failing a bunch, but he is successful in things. But you kind of want to do the whole thing where like he played Backflip Madness and that shot up to the charts, through the
yeah.
it's like number 1. But see, that was 99 cents, whereas Wits was like $3.
Hmm.
So I
That's
that it
triple the price.
yeah and like it made an appearance in the top games I think on the charts, and it started to kind of maybe peek a little bit um into
Yeah,
like
it's
the
it's doing
overall.
really well. It shot up real high.
But
It
see,
peaked at
it didn't
56.
it shot up like okay, and then it wasn't until like the next day that he decided to put it on sale to
Hmm.
99 cents.
Oh,
So then it started to shoot up a little bit more after he put it on sale, I think a little bit faster. But it got me thinking like, man, like what would have happened if he probably that video already has 2 million views right now, like in 3 days.
yeah.
But like which is a pretty good amount for like a PewDiePie video. It's good to get like he usually gets like 1 to 2 million in the first few days. And so like but he Whitaker probably missed out on, a million plus like eyeballs maybe that were checking out the game when it was three
Who would have
dollars.
bought it for $1?
So
Yeah,
yeah, you wonder would they have bought, if they just saw 99 cents, they'd be like, oh, that looked kind of funny. It's only 99 cents. Like maybe is the idea that 99 cents is the lowest like paid game? Is that like a thing now? Like if it's not free, then like is like 99 cents, or do people think that that's the cheapest it'll get?
there's
It's
a
like if it's a
perception
paid
thing. I
game,
mean,
you know what I mean? Like if it's
yeah,
paid, 99 cents is the cheapest, you know.
Well, I
yeah,
mean, take that one step further. If it would have been a free-to-play game and he had a million eyeballs on it, that probably would
Oh
have
god.
translated to a million downloads.
Oh yeah, he would like
easily.
anyone would have downloaded. You see PewDiePie playing it, boom, you would like it would have climbed
Yeah,
up. But
but
yeah, he
it's
does.
not like you can structure your releases around like, all right, well, I,
Oh,
I need to
there's
be
no
able
way
to
you
have the
could.
scale for
Yeah,
PewDiePie. Like, come
I
on,
mean,
that's
when Piloteer like it's totally set up to be. I mean, or it's just the way the game is played. It seems like it would be perfect for someone to watch someone like fail miserably.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny to see like people struggle and that kind of thing. Similar to how you watch someone play Backflip Madness for like the first time and they just, you know, horrible backflips breaking their bodies, and it's like it's funny to watch. But yeah, it got me thinking that first, million plus people that, you know, would they have would that have if it was just 99 cents, would it have, climbed, into the top 100 or,
yeah.
games like real quick, and then would that have then carried, on to like more people seeing it because it's in the top of the charts and more
If
people
it was
talking
free,
about
for
it.
sure. I
Oh,
don't
if
know
it's
about
free,
paid.
yeah, but I mean,
Like if that game would have been free, like Witch Rebel's Life's Changed Tomorrow.
yeah.
Like that's what kind of sucks about
If it was, yeah, he would have just. I mean, yeah, you'd had to set it up as a free game with whatever ads and whatnot and things. And
Yeah.
but that would have been, yeah. There's no way you could like count on that. That's like such a crazy thing to think of. Like, I'll just plan on PewDiePie playing my game. Just
Yeah.
get a few million eyeballs on it.
Yeah.
But it's like it's it's that kind of thing for a free game. A PewDiePie video is probably better than like or almost probably on par with an Apple feature, if not better.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
of the audience.
I've heard people try to estimate his like getting featured on one of his videos in regards to what it would cost, that similar reach would cost as an ad spend, and it's like in the high 5 figures, low 6 figures.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. But yeah, it's no one. Obviously Whitaker didn't know. You don't have a plan for it, so he doesn't
Right.
know whether he like. Oh, if PewDiePie does do a video of my game, am I immediately gonna go on sale right away? He like waited a day or so like to do it because he's probably thinking, oh man, all these eyeballs.
Well, if nothing else, that game is going to have an insanely long tail. As
That's the benefit. He definitely. I don't know if he's planning on keeping a lower price or anything, but I mean, yeah, PewDiePie's videos or anything that he does a video on seems to hang around on the charts, on the top 150 or top 200 even, like just.
I'd probably keep it at $1, to be honest.
Yeah, you might as well until you see it really, dipping out of view of everything, I guess, because you could see it on the charts still, which is always a nice thing if people are just scrolling through.
Yeah.
They're looking for a different icon. They don't look, that's not familiar.
Yeah.
Something.
Well, that's really cool for Wit, though. That's awesome.
Yeah, I
hope
hope it hangs out longer.
We should post that on TouchArcade today.
I dominated that game long ago. I guess I'm just too good at
Should've
video
streamed
games.
Just
Yeah, I
too good.
I'd only edited a funny video.
Yeah.
They only had YouTube and Piloteer back when I was younger.
Oh, so sad. Well, this podcast is run pretty long. You guys want to bring it on home?
Let's just talk about WWE SummerSlam on Sunday. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's just talk about John Cena.
Yeah, yeah. We could talk about SummerSlam, the results next week. Just mention who wins between Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker.
It's gonna be The Undertaker, and then Undertaker will disappear
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
I heard some. So there's this wrestling bar that we go to sometimes, and I heard a kind of interesting theory that, like Undertaker, like so he had almost no hair when he was at WrestleMania. So this dude was curious if like he wasn't like kind of like post-cancer Undertaker, and that's why he looks so rough. Because like look at him now, like he's growing his hair back out, right?
Yeah.
So I was like,
I don't know.
I wonder because that WrestleMania match definitely was like, wow, this is almost uncomfortable.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or just last year, I guess.
So no, like a year and a half.
Year and a half, yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening to the podcast. Thanks for watching us on Mob Crush. Thanks for viewing the Mob Crush archive video on YouTube or however you are consuming this podcast. We love that you guys listen to us every week and appreciate all feedback. So again, the email is podcast@toucharcade.com. Otherwise, you can leave us an iTunes review. We'll see those too. So yeah. Anything else? Any last words?
Nope.
All right. See you next week. Oh, I forgot about next week. I'm gonna be at PAX, so we're gonna have to record early.
Oh no.
So all right, we should end the Mob Crash stream. Thanks for watching us and everything, dudes. See you next week. Might record on a different day because I'm gonna be out on Friday, but I guess this is a good reason to follow us on Mob Crush so you get the push alert for when it happens. So yeah. Peace out.
Plug it.
Peace out, y'alls.
Boom.